Merħba, nilqakom għal programm ieħor ta' kull ġimgħa L-Intrapriża. Illum se nagħtu ħarsa lejn żewġ attivitajiet li ġew organizzati dan l-aħħar li jittrattaw bil-mod tagħhom miżuri li jimmitigaw it-tibdil fil-klima. L-ewwel attività hija l-inawgurazzjoni ta' binja kummerċjali li ġiet retrofitted fuq kriterji li jmassimizzaw l-effiċjenza fl-enerġija fil-binjiet u jirrenduh net zero carbon. Dan il-proġett seħħ permezz ta' kollaborazzjoni bejn l-HSBC Malta Foundation u l-Kamra tal-Kummerċ.
We have to compliment my predecessors, David Shurp and Marisa Shurp, who had the foresight to establish this collaboration and work on a project to show our members that retrofitting towards sustainability is doable, is achievable, and is something that one can then experience for the benefit of future generations. As the current leaders and members of the Malta Chamber of Commerce, Enterprise and Industry, it is our responsibility and custodians to ensure that future generations have a level playing field and a sustainable environment to work and operate in. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Engineer Abigail Kutaya for spearheading the setting up and the writing of the manual, and Professor Ruben Borge and Dr. Damien Gutt.
We were looking for a new home, a new headquarters here for our bank in Malta. And as we evaluated different sites, we thought, what better way than repurpose our existing building, using it as an example for retrofitting, for refurbishing, in order to have a more energy efficient, lower carbon footprint. And so we're using this building as an example for the case study. For us, collaborating with the Malta Chamber was a great way to lead by example because, it's a top-notch institution. And we realized that building a more sustainable future is not just the work of one bank or one institution. It's a collective effort across academia, the building sector, working with the government, and other stakeholders. So that's why we wanted to lead with this project. We hope this research inspires others to be creative, to be collaborative, and see how we can make an effort to build a better future.
Inġiniera esperti kienu strumentali biex ifasslu qafas ta' linji gwida f'dokument bit-titlu Maximizing Energy Efficiency Through Building Renovation li qed jintuża bħala mudell għal binjiet oħra.
We started with discussions, very deep discussions with different entities and authorities within the governmental remit, and we started to analyze what could potentially be taken out of them in order to truly input this data into a model which was going to model the actual building into being more efficient. Obviously, the positive to this project is that we didn't just model this building, but decided to take a very bold commitment, a voluntary commitment that they actually take this building and obviously change it into a LEED certified building. And through this process, we didn't just utilize the study as a desktop study, but we could actually see what came out from the study and truly plug it in the actual physical building, which is currently undergoing building and construction, as well as fit outs in order to make it more energy efficient.
Attività oħra riċenti ġiet organizzata mill-Malta Enterprise fejn ingħatat informazzjoni fuq ammendi li se jseħħu fuq restrizzjonijiet fl-użu ta' tqejjid fis-suq ta' grupp ta' kimiċi li jissejħu PFAS. Din id-definizzjoni tkopri madwar 10,000 sostanza li jintużaw f'ħafna industri u applikazzjonijiet oħra kummerċjali bħal manifattura ta' prodotti, l-avjazzjoni, l-air conditioning u refrigeration. Kif wieħed jista' jimmaġina din l-inizjattiva se jkollha impatt sinifikanti fuq dawk l-industri u għalhekk inħassil bżonn li jkun hemm għarfien kmieni sabiex titfassal pożizzjoni nazzjonali fuq din il-proposta.
And I'm here today representing CEFIC, which is the European Federation of Chemical Industries. It's based in Brussels. So I'm also representing today FPP for Europe. It's a sector group that represents manufacturers, importers and users of PFAS. And today my presentation focuses in a restriction that is now proposed and that will impact the PFAS substances. Why it's important to be aware of this restriction? Mainly because of the huge impact that will have in all industries, not only the chemical industries, but many also in the downstream use. If you keep aware, abreast of the developments, you are able to interact, provide data, and you can actually change the situation. So what CEFIC gives you is an opportunity not only to know the legislative framework, policy framework in relation to the chemicals and others, but to be able to react, to be prepared, and to be able to see what are the options to face such a challenge environment. Of course, you give us a perspective of another country, so it's always very useful to be in touch with all the companies in all the countries of the European Union. Usually you have a very good contact with your authorities, so it's an important channel from Europe to get to the Maltese authorities and to be able to raise also concerns with them at national level.
Dawn l-ammendi li qed jiġu proposti se jkun ifisser li numru ta' produtturi se jkollhom bżonn ibidlu l-proċessi tal-produzzjoni tagħhom, jinvestu f'makkinarju ġdid u anki jużaw materjali alternattivi.
The proposed regulation of PFAS chemicals in Europe is the biggest undertaking, the biggest restriction proposal that was ever made so far. While there is a lot of justification and some of the PFAS chemicals are indeed critical, this is not only a European problem, it is a global problem. A restriction needs to take a balanced approach. It should be risk-based. We have a lot of uses that are not yet fully understood, very complex global supply chains, interactions where PFAS materials are being used, they are critical for their function. While as some other PFAS uses, dissipative uses, may not be as legitimate as they may have looked 20 years ago. What we are asking for from an industrial standpoint is a very balanced approach, taking a risk-based approach, taking an approach where we control the emissions, where we manage exposure, but we should not cause harm to the European economy by threatening entire value chains. And as I said in the beginning, very important to us is also a global balance. If we do restrictions here in Europe, we may harm particularly small and medium-sized companies, particularly in countries like Malta, whereas the rest of the world may actually be the benefiting party. So taking a balanced approach, taking a risk-based approach is important. We as industries, we need to understand what our contributions can be it towards greater circularity, developing alternatives. We need to work hand in hand, but our plea to the regulators is take a balanced risk-based approach.
Il-Malta Enterprise qed tinkoraġġixxi lill-industri varji sabiex jiffamiljarizzaw ruhom ma' dawn it-tibdiliet.
Bażikament qed nippruvaw inqajmu ċertu għarfien u kuxjenza qalb l-imprenditturi lokali rigward ir-reviżjonijiet li qegħdin nantiċipaw għar-REACH Regulation. Dan ir-regolament daħ fis-seħħ fl-2007 u dan jikkontrolla liema sustanzi kimiċi qegħdin fis-swieq tal-istati membri tagħna. Fosthom qegħdin nantiċipaw reviżjoni li kapaċi timpatta b'mod sostanzjali lill-imprenditori Maltin. Bażikament qiegħed jiġi propost illi jkun hemm proibizzjoni assoluta ta' użu ta' kimiċi li jammontaw fiktar minn 10,000, fosthom ukoll grupp li jissejħu PFAS chemicals u dawn jinstabu f'diversi prodotti u proċessi ta' manifattura Maltija. Min-naħa ta' L-Intrapriża, aħna l-iskop tagħna hu li nipproteġu nissalvagwardjaw l-interessi tal-industrija Maltija. B'hekk nofru diversi skemi illi bihom nippromovu il-prinċipji tas-sostenibilità, tal-effiċjenza u anke tal-innovazzjoni sabiex nagħtu assistenza fuq il-re-engineering of processes jew jużaw eżempju prodotti u materjali li jkunu iktar environmental friendly. So insibu daqsxejn il-bilanċ bejn li nipproteġu l-ambjent u s-saħħa tal-bniedem kif ukoll nissalvagwardjaw l-interessi industrijali. Fid-Dipartiment tal-Economic Research u EU Affairs fih dan il-L-Intrapriża aħna nservu bħala pont bejn l-EU decision makers u l-imprenditori Maltin u dan nagħmluh billi norganizzaw numru ta' avvenimenti bħal dak li organizzajna llum meta nkunu nafu li jkun hemm negozjar fuq ċertu leġiżlazzjonijiet li aħna nantiċipaw illi ħajħallu impatt fuq l-intrapriża Maltija. Dan nagħmluh billi nagħmlu diversi ta' outreach exercises ukoll u nibagħtu emails nagħmlu direct u indirect contact ma' numru ta' kumpaniji Maltin sabiex aħna nisimgħu l-opinjoni, il-kummenti u xi ħsibijiet għandhom dwar dik il-leġislazzjoni li tkun qiegħda tiġi diskussa fuq livell Ewropew sabiex aħna nkunu nistgħu noħolqu pożizzjoni iktar b'saħħitha, pożizzjoni nazzjonali li tkun tista' tintuża f'EU fora fil-Council Working Parties u li tkun tirrifletti il-realtajiet li qegħdin jesperjenzaw l-industrijalisti tagħna.
Dak kollox għallum, iżda qabel nagħlqu l-programm nagħtu ħarsa lejn il-kalendarju. Saħħa u srieq.